So, and this all has to do, and all this times, also, it all times in with the exact time that they put the seed bank up the Antarctic. So that's why I've been a little weirded out and why I can't stop with I keep reading and I can't seem to find enough information on this. Because if it is all connected and it is true, then, this is where it causes problems for people. Because if it is true, and so far I haven't been able to find anything that can go against it yet, I'm still trying. Because I still love the idea that this Earth's been around for millions of years. I'm kind of having a problem with the whole 5,000 years has been the only time, That's a little hard for me to swallow right now. Because to deal with this, that means that everything that we've ever been taught or believed is built on falseness, that we've been lied to our whole lives and our whole existence is not true. Most people can't deal with that unless you've been through it with a couple of major events in your life, and then it's, you can, once you've been through it a couple times, what's one more? But,
yeah.
I'm a little freaked out myself, so sorry. I can keep going. I mean, I found a lot of stuff. They find, the giants that used to exist here, they keep finding hundreds and hundreds everywhere around the world. They try to hide them. Giants did exist. They had to do with the time frame of the world, everything else. I mean, how else are you going to move things like that? They have some of artifacts. Man, I got so much. Let's see where to go to from here. Well, like I said, the thing about paying attention to, like, the Bible and other things, like Greek mythology, they found Troy. They found other things that are listed in those poems that we thought were all mythology, but we're sitting here finding actual places and actual items that are even mentioned. In fact, there was one thing that was mentioned in one of the old Greek mythologies that talked about a society that lived high in the mountains that was protected by griffins, and when they followed the instructions they actually found the location, and all over the city were murals that included images of griffins everywhere, and 2 large griffins guarded the gateway as they walked in. So we need to really re-look at some of these old stories and maybe pay a little bit more attention and see them other than what we've been told our whole lives. It's their stories, and that we came from apes and we used to be these barbarians that knew nothing and could do nothing, because it's not true. None of it's true. And I'm not a religious person. Don't get me wrong. I studied religion. I moved on. But I kept studying everything else. I loved mythologies. I loved the stories. And Buck, you're back with us. I loved it, and I just kept finding more, and I think that's been the thing. And it like you said, the information's out there. It always has been, and we can tap into it. The only problem is that most people don't know the question to ask. When you know the question, then the answers will be there. We all have access to it. But you have to know where to look. Nobody knows where to look. Anyways, okay, somebody else talk, because I'm a little overwhelmed.
Go ahead, Uncle Buck. We're gonna let you speak here. We've got open mic for the next hour and 20 minutes, man. So we're gonna talk about whatever anyone wants to talk about. And if you want to talk about something that Nickie's been talking about, by all means, because I'm still learning this stuff.
Yeah. I've been studying this for years. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Okay. Well, it's just been my passion, and I must say, the Greek root word for religion is religio. Okay, religio means religion. It means bondage. That's the Greek root word for religion. So what we're talking about, really, as you come around to it, it's this watered-down, lukewarm religion that we're getting from Joel Osteen. But what Nickie's starting to discover is that it's way more exciting than that. Okay, there really were fallen, spiritual, angelic-like beings. There were. You break down some of the Greek texts, they actually talk about some of these different classes of angels flew on ships. And Elijah that was taken up, he describes them as taken up in a chariot, but what they're talking about, and you break down all the lights, it's a ship. So, and I don't know if I lost you guys there before, but I was saying the god Anubis was out visiting the Denver airport, a big statue of the god from Egypt. Yeah, my buddy sent me that one. And we're approaching, in my opinion, I think we're having this alien battle between the different sects of fallen angels / angelic-like beings, the different levels of heavens, which are the heaven in the air, heaven just outside the earth, heaven in another dimension. You're having the reclamation or the great battle for Earth has begun, and
that puts the responsibility on someone else instead of ourselves, and I think that's exactly what they're trying to do, is so that nobody stands up. Instead, let somebody else do it. It's too big. We can't do it.
Well, yeah. I mean, I think that we definitely are raped of our power to say, hey, wait, we don't want to do this anymore. We don't want high fructose corn syrup and everything. And I agree. The fear is that's that vibration. I don't know what megahertz fear is on, but I think it's like 47 megahertz. So if you can broadcast from these, I know it sounds like
exactly. That's the other thing I've been hearing. Watch out, people. If you hear something in your mind and it sounds like it's coming from you and your God speaking to you, that's BS.
Yeah.
Look up HARP. It works. Look at Jesse Ventura thing. They did that same experiment where they can make something appear in your head that's not really sound.
Yeah, and that's actually ELF, extra low frequency, and it began with Operation Woodpecker, which was a Russian program. And they would beam it at the different embassies and try to work with it. And then they said, well, it hits some people, but it doesn't work with other people. So they implemented psychotropic, serotonin reuptake inhibitor drugs, which most everybody in America is on right now.
Right.
And the ELF work much better with the psychotropic drugs, Prozac, Paxil, Zoloft, Effexor, Thyroidazine, Wellbutrin. Shall I go on? And, when I owned my gyms, I was sitting there looking at health histories of these women, and I had a lot of women clients, over 300. And I thought, oh, my God, every one of them is on one of these drugs. And and then a lot of the men, but mostly women. And so that's also, it starts out a little bit of Operation Paperclip, but Operation Woodpecker. That was where the Russians really got rolling in it. But they can emit, as I give you guys a break on your voice, they emit the ELF megahertz from the cell phone towers. They're not just cell phone towers. They can transmit in an area, obey the government, you are sad, you are weak, whatever. And so I've been watching and picking that up for years. And one of the things you can do is create orgones. Orgones are living energy.
See, and they're shaped, they're cones. They're actually shaped like pyramids and everything else. They have it's actually not too hard to make. They've got videos that can show you. And they've been known to actually take out, like, clouds and stuff. They can make things clear and make it all nice. There's another thing, those megaliths. They found that they tend to exist in places where there's energy that seems to come out the earth, and within like a 5-mile radius of that, plants and everything else grow not only faster but bigger and more nutritious and healthier, but so do the people, and anything else that's born within that area tend to not only live longer but don't get sick. And there's things like this that we don't pay attention, because to us it's not mechanical, so it can't be technology. But that's what they were used for, is actually because once the deluge and then, of course, the nuclear fallout, they had to find new places to grow their plants. So the agricultural centers, you will see all at once, all around the world, all at the exact same time, move somewhere else. So how is it that societies that technically weren't in communication and were barbarians, how did they all do it at the same time and they knew that it was time to go on? Because maybe the places they were close to, the nuclear fallout, they couldn't do it anymore and they had to move? Come on. I mean, it's kind of scary when you start seeing it. But to me, it's like, I don't know. I found some other things like, Alexander Graham Bell. He was doing an interview after, like, the phones were released, and he actually made a statement saying that it had all been done before. He said old devices have been reinvented, and the person interviewing him actually pushed him some, like he was really curious about what he had said. And basically, see, our past actually exists, and this is where the secret societies and all this comes into play, because they've come across the old documents. What do you think they were doing in Iraq? It wasn't for oil. It's because of the information that was there, because of everything that's culminating right now.
Yes.
Exactly. The old libraries, the old history, our history, okay? This is what we need to find and get back, because this is our legacy. This is who we are. And that's what they found, and that's what we were going after. And that's why the museums and everything else got raided, and everybody thought it was like BS. Yeah, here's the soldiers letting people run in. But if you've heard all these other stories, soldiers were dressing up and then blue eyes walking by and freaking garb, thinking that they're Arabs instead. Come on, people.
Right.
It's little scary things like that. And we're so afraid to accept the fact that prior the deluge, prior to Noah, that they had greater technology than us. It's very hard for us to like grasp and even swallow at all. But
a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away.
Exactly that, or in the beginning. Come on. It's like we should have faith in ourselves. We've done it, and that's what's happening now. Is people are finding like devices. They don't really know what they are, so they say they're magic or ritual or art, right? So we should actually probably go back to some of these museums, like especially the Smithsonian. Maybe go to the bottom and go see what's down there, and maybe reevaluate some things that we have because. I don't think we're quite aware of everything that's there now. They found proof so far that even the medicine from prior flood, they could do, believe this or not, they had brain surgery and even brain transplants is what they've been able to find. Of course, we've seen the civilizations on Mars, and they keep trying to like hide it from us because that's what we've done, and we could do it again. So they keep coming across this technology, and even though we don't have access to how they did it, we're trying to reverse engineer it. But instead of being natural, we're having to use that in itself should show the ingenuity and amazingness of our being, that we can take something that we know works somehow and use something completely different and build it again and find a way to use it, even though we don't know how they did it in the first place.
Well, let me say this to you, Nickie, is acquaintance of mine, Red Elf, and you can. I think his website's still up, redelf.org.
Yeah,
he talks. Okay, yeah, he's up there in Washington. He talks about the American pyramids, and he had them on his website.
There are 9 of them. There's some in Florida and some in Illinois.
Yeah.
Nobody knows about those either.
Yeah, I do. Anyways, there's a big hole in the ground out there, a couple of them, and the ships come out of there. And I always wanted to go rappelling down the hole, kind of check it out, but.
Right, I've seen some evidence. They have down in Ecuador, they have this awesome site that has all these odd-shaped, big old rock things that are like basically they look like steps, and they've all been placed next to each other, and you can't even put a blade of a knife in between them, okay? And some of them are different shapes, and they've all been brought there. It's unnatural. One of the largest ones in there, now make sure you hear me right, is 200,000 tons, okay? Not 200 tons, 200,000 tons. And that's kind of one of those numbers people just can't quite grasp. So the way that I was done in this one book that had a lot of these details and just, hey, look at this evidence and find out what you need, like the big, amazing ships like the Queen Mary or, say, the Titanic, they only weighed about 40,000 tons. Now, we don't have anything that can even lift those. They have to go into dry dock. And that's how they're handled. Even nothing can pick that up here now. We don't have any cranes. We don't have the technology. Yet they have things that were 200,000 tons that were moved into precise coordinates with everything around it. And and why do they want to hide it? Why can't we just accept the fact that maybe we were awesome and that we can be there again, and we don't need somebody to rule us because we have the abilities to do it ourselves, and that's all they're doing. They want it for themselves. They don't want us to be there because they can't control the number that's here. We are too many for them, hence why the Georgia Guidestones went up and everything else, because they want to restrict it so that they think that they should have a small amount of the world and the rest of it should be wild. And I don't understand. And I really don't get it. But we can overcome it.
Yeah. Well, guys, I went to bed last night. I paid $3.01 for a gallon of diesel on the Iowa-Missouri line. I woke up this morning, and it was $3.04. I was right in front of the sign. And I was like, what? And then I looked back through my fuel receipts for my previous quarter here, and about 2.5 months ago, I would say it's $2.74 at that station. I always stop there. And all this culminating, I tell you, I get this crazy feeling that, they're turning up the gas for all of this stuff.